lesson 6.1 today. You're learning target. You can create ratios and identify unit rates and better buys between two or more quantities. A ratio compares to things or quantities. I'm going to say quantities again. What I mean by quantities is things. Miles per hour, dollars per hour, okay? Feet per second. A unit rate represents the amount for one. Let's say that I bought 5 blizzards for 20 bucks. How much per blizzard? $4. Right, so I just divided them. I found out, and that's what you're going to be doing today. You're going to be identifying how much you would spend for one. Ways to write unit rates, pay attention. Ways to write unit rates. You can write it as a fraction. A is to B, right? A is to B. You can write it with a semicolon. A is to B. Or you can write it with the word to. A to B. Those are 3 ways that you can write ratios. All of them are correct, okay? All right, let's jump to the examples. In a class there are 15 girls and 17 boys. Find the ratio of the following, girls to boys. So it's always, this would be like the first one and the second, or the A and the B. Whatever they ask you what's first is always that first top part of the fraction and the left of the semicolon. So how many girls are there? 15 is to 17. 15 over 17 or 15 to 17. All of them are equivalent. You pick your favorite way to write it. I usually write it with the semicolon. Okay. A lot of times, actually, it's probably best to write it as a fraction because it sets us up for proportions. Boys to total. How many boys do I have?
17.
17 boys. How many total kids?
32.
17 is to 32. Or 17 over 32 would be equivalent. All right, next. There are 4 left-handed students to 22 right. What is the ratio of left hand to total? So we have 4 left hands. So I'm looking like this. It should be left is to total. Left to total. Left I have 4. Total I have what? 26?
Yep.
It is not simplified. I need to simplify it.
Okay.
So it's just like a fraction. It's just like 4 over 26. You would have to simplify it. So 2 goes into both of them. 2 is to 13. 2 to 13 is the final simplified answer. So you want to always simplify if you can, just like fractions. Next one, there must be 2 teachers per 60 students. Express this ratio in simplest form. We're going to do it as a fraction this time. So I have teachers are to students. Teachers to students. Teachers are 2, students are 60. Not simplified, right? 1 to 30. So 1 teacher to 30 students. Written as a semicolon. Okay, 50 oranges to 120 apples. What's the ratio of apples to oranges? 50 is to 120. Divide them both by, I'm going to choose with dividing them both by 10 first. 5 is to 12, and I am done.
It would be 12 to 5.
Why would it be 12 to 5?
Apples to oranges.
You're dang right, it would be 12 to 5. Okay, so it would be, I want apples first to oranges. And my apples is 120. My oranges is 50. Cancel out that 0, 12 to 5. Beautiful. Which brings me to a point. You write this as a fraction, 12 over 5. Do not simplify that. Ratios, you do not write that as 2 and 2/5. Okay, ratios, you always leave improper. Very, very important. So always leave ratios improper. Okay? All right, unit rates. This is a unit that you can use your calculator for, so make sure that you come prepared with a calculator. Maybe you have one in your pencil pouch or you bring one, but it's definitely when calculators are an A-OK with this unit, okay? So unit rate, you find the amount for 1. You rode your bike 16 miles in 2 hours, how much for 1?
8 miles.
8 miles each hour, so tell me how we figured that out. Divided them by 2. So I said 16 miles is to 2 hours, and I want to get it to 1. I want it to become a 1 here. How do I get it to become a 1? I divided by 2, 8. So in easy terms, you just go the top divided by the bottom. Okay? For mowing 6 lawns, you got paid $34.50. What I want to know, you always put dollars on top with these. You always want the dollars on top and whatever else, the other thing on the bottom. It's usually $1 per hour, $1 per shirt, $1 per jean, okay? So for mowing 6 lawns, you get $34.50. I want to know how much do I get per lawn? $34.50 divided by the 6. Yeah, $5.75. I made $5.75 each lawn. I got kind of ripped off, didn't I? You work really hard mow lawns. A typist earns $105 for typing 10 pages. How much does this typist earn per page? So again, we're going 105 over 10. Divide them. What do we get? 1050. So I got 1050 a page, which I'd take. Sounds good to me. I can type pretty fast. $45 for 6 shirts. How much for 1 shirt? So 45 over 6. 7 even? No. 750. I don't really know that.
Yeah, 750.
It is 750. 750 for 1 shirt. That's great. That's a pretty good deal. That's a good deal. 520 miles in 7 hours. Oh.
It's a 4.28571.
So I'm going to say it is approximately 74 miles per hour. Okay. I approximated to the nearest whole there. Sometimes they might say approximate to the nearest like 10th. You pay attention. If they don't tell you, since we're talking about like actual things, I would just round to the nearest whole. 74 miles each hour. Pretty fast. All right, next slide. Better buys. Better buys is very important. For families that shop at Costco or Sam's Club, that's why, because your family members are looking for the better buys, okay? And more you buy, typically the cheaper the unit price is. So you find each unit price and compare. All right, and it's not always the cheapest to buy the most. It's not always. So I don't want you to look at these two problems and think the 25-pound crate is the cheapest. It might be in this instance, I don't remember, okay? But it's not always that way. You have to follow the procedure of find each unit price. So a 20-pound crate of oranges is for 16, so I want to know how much per crate. That's my question, the unit price. How much for 1 crate? So I know 16 is, or per pound is really what I'm doing. 16 is to $25 in pounds, then how much for 1 pound? So 16 divided by 25 is approximately 64 cents. I'm paying 64 cents per pound. Okay? And B, I had a 20-pound crate for $13.50. So $13.50 and 20 is 68 cents. So which one's cheaper? Yep, so the 25-pound crate is cheaper. So it is the better buy. So the better buy is always the cheaper amount. Is that it? That's it.